What's your why? We hear that question all the time, doing what you do on purpose with purpose. But my question to you is, what if you don't know your why? What if your why has become stale? How do you create one from scratch? In this video, I'm gonna give you some tools to help you do just that.
Hey, Sua!
Three things for this series. Number one.
Years ago, I had the privilege of working with a university softball team. And one of the coaches was working with his pitcher to help her with her pitching mechanics. And as she was going through each of the elements of her mechanics, the coach kept stopping her to ask, "Why do you do that?" And she would follow up with the exact same answer, "I don't know." And he continued to ask the question, "Why do you do that? Why do you separate your hands there? Why do you put your arm there? Why do you shift your weight at this point? Why do you release like that?" I saw very quickly that this college student athlete got frustrated and ultimately answered by saying, "I don't know why I do what I do. I just do it, coach." I inched a little bit closer to hear how he was going to respond. I'll never forget as he pointed his finger in her face and he said, "When you know why you do what you do, you'll have more power to do it." Knowing why you do what you do is extremely powerful. And that is such a true principle. When you know why you do what you do, you'll have more power to do it. But what if you don't know why you do what you do? What if you're lost? What if you have done something for so long, you've just succumbed to the status quo bias? You do it just because that's the way you've always done it. During this time, it's easy to get caught up in the mundane and to stay inside of our comfort zone and to just do things just because it's our default. So my question to you is, how do you discover your why? How do you build it? Allow me to give you 3 principles to keep in mind as you're seeking to discover your own why. Principle number 1, remember that your why is your own. We live in a world where we want to adopt and copy habits of the best in the world. And sometimes we'll copy habits or try to adopt a mindset that works for somebody else, but it doesn't work for you. Your why is your why. It doesn't have to be noble. It doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't even have to be public. What I mean by your why is it could be private. You don't have to share it with anybody else. And don't worry about what other people think about your why. The question is, does your why trigger you? Does it trigger an emotion? Does it get you excited? Does it get you mad? Does it get you angry? Does it light a fire inside your heart to make you want to be a better version of yourself, to push a little bit harder? That's when you know you have the right why. It's yours. You know you don't have the right why when you are trying to appease other people, when you want the public to clap for you and say, "That's a really good purpose." You don't need the opinions of others. It's yours. Principle number 2 when trying to create your own why is to remember that your why can change. Just because you had a why 10 years ago, that might not necessarily mean that that's the why you need today. Your why can become stale. There was one time I was working with an NFL football player and he seemed like he was just going through the motions, or at least that's what he told me. He came into my office and I asked him, "Hey, what's your why?" And as he began to tell me, it was funny what he said. He said, "My why is to be an NFL football player." And he interrupted himself mid-sentence. He realized that his why was to play in the NFL. Now, the funny thing is, he had been playing in the NFL for the past 2 seasons. Unbeknownst to him, his why got stale. And so, how's your why? Are you pursuing things that used to light a fire in you that no longer light a fire in you? Not because you lack motivation, but because your context has changed. Your circumstances have changed. Take a look at your life right now and identify what is your why right now. It can change. Maybe you got married. Maybe you have a new job. Maybe you have a child now. Maybe you already hit the goal you were originally pursuing. And unbeknownst to you, or without even realize it, you kept it there. Now is the time to change it. Now, principle number 3 on how to cultivate a new why and discover your why is to know that you could set up a temporary why. Some people suffer from paralysis by analysis by trying to answer that esoteric question, what is my why? We're not looking for a capital W why or a capital P purpose. What is your why for this week? What is your why for today? If you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, try to create your own light at the end of the tunnel by shrinking the playing field. Maybe you don't know what your big grand why is, but you can create a why for this month. You can create a why for this workout. And as you do that, you'll see what triggers you. Well, you'll see what motivates you. You can create your own why. You can create your own light at the end of the tunnel. And so I hope there's something in here that can help you recalibrate and re-engage with your purpose, with your why. It doesn't have to be some big complicated thing. Remember, it's your why. You can create it yourself, it can change, and you can create a short-term one. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and if you like these videos, please hit the like button, be sure to subscribe, and hit that bell so that you're notified when another video comes out.